from Libra Organizing. I'm back today giving you a tour of my personal space in my own home. As an organizing coach, a lot of my clients and people that I meet wonder how I organize my own space and how I live in it. And so I'm here to satisfy that curiosity today and give you a tour of how I live. So there's a disclaimer at the beginning. I would like to say that just because I do things a certain way doesn't mean that I am advocating that everyone should do them this way. And I certainly work with individuals and families to create systems and spaces that support their lifestyles, their needs, their goals, and also their cultures and the way that they think and approach the world, which is usually a lot different from the way that I approach it, because otherwise they might not be hiring a personal organizing coach. So last week I showed you downstairs and all the more common spaces in the house. Today I'm giving you a tour of the upstairs of the house. And in this segment I'm going to show you 3 guest spaces. So there's really not that much to see in our guest spaces because, and you can hear our new puppy and rattling around everywhere here. In our guest spaces, we have decided that those spaces are really going to be dedicated to guests. And that is especially important to us. We're living in Augusta, Georgia, far away from family right now. And we really want our family and friends to come visit us. So it's important to us to have spaces where our guests can come and spread out and feel at home and feel comfortable. And so you'll see that this is sort of our larger guest room. And it's set up, of course, to be comfortable, but everything's empty because we want guests to be able to spread out. So if you could just pan around, Daniel, and just kind of show the room. I'm going to briefly cough while you're doing that. So all of the drawers that you see in the nightstands as well as in the dresser are completely empty. Because, like I said, we want people to be able to come and spread out. If they're here for more than just a night or two, they'll often actually unpack into the dresser and they'll feel really at home. 2 things I want to point out. The other reason why it's really important for us to have ready guest spaces is that here in Augusta, the Masters Golf Tournament happens every spring, and we rent out our house every year for that. I think it's a really great opportunity to take a forced vacation and make some money. So it's very important to have spaces ready so that those people that are coming in can move in, and they're here for at least a week, sometimes 10 days. So you want them to feel comfortable, and then hopefully they'll come back the following year. So 2 things that I put specifically in our guest rooms are really here to protect the furniture and the room itself. One is that you'll notice I have luggage racks in here. So I've got 2 on this side of the room and 2 on the other side of the room, and they are prominently displayed because when we have guests, I don't want them to put their filthy luggage that's been dragged all over the world on top of the bed. I want them to be comfortable and accessible, but I really want them to use that. The other thing that I put up and that we always point out in our notes for people that are staying, strangers, not friends, as a hook on the back of the door, I want there to be plenty of spaces for wet towels to be hung. There's also hooks in the bathroom, which I'll show you in a minute. But this is just making it easy for your guests not to destroy your furniture. I'll also point out that we have a piece of glass on top of the dresser so that makeup or glasses of water or whatever else might be sitting here, perfume, will not spill and ruin the wood. I'll show you the closet in here. The only thing that we have dedicated this closet for is our luggage. So you'll see that lined up on the bottom. And our extra sheets. We don't have a dedicated linen closet in this house, so we've kind of turned this into our living closet, linen closet. So we've got our extra sheets, and that's pretty much it. I always make sure to leave lots of hangers in the closet so that, again, people can come and hang up their nice clothes and make themselves at home. So that is this guest room. I'm going to quickly show you the other guest room. And really all the same principles apply. This is our smaller guest room, but you'll see it's the same idea that it's built to be welcoming and comfortable and cozy, but also leave space for people to move in with their own things. I like to have a chair in a guest room, not just for sitting in, but I'll leave clean towels and linens for guests here. This cabinet is empty, so people can use it to put shoes or store whatever they like. This is an old piece of furniture that was brown and kind of boring that Daniel and I decided to paint, which was a fun little project. I'm usually not much of a DIY girl, but we had a fun time doing that, right? It's kind of fun, right? And that's it. You'll see the bed. We've got a clock, an alarm clock in here, which is always a nice thing to provide for your guests. And we've got a couple candles. And again, the luggage rack, because I want my furniture and my linen spared. And this is just the closet, which is completely empty other than hangers. So this is a place where people can store their luggage, hang up their things, put their shoes, whatever they need. They've got space to move in and feel at home. And the last thing I'll point out, of course, always have a mirror in your guest room. Have you ever stayed somewhere? Oh, hotel rooms always have mirrors that don't have any light near them, and I don't know how women are supposed to put makeup on like that. So always have a mirror in your guest room if you want your guests to be comfortable. And again, we have the hook on the back of the door so that wet towels or things like that can be hung up there instead of strewn across the bed or the upholstered furniture.
There were two questions while we were just doing this tour. One question was, what was the square footage of the house? I guess to get a sense or of scale, maybe?
Yeah. The house is a little over 2,200 square feet. We actually bumped it up a little bit since we moved in because we added a master bathroom where there wasn't anything. But so it's not a huge house, but certainly for people that were coming from a one-bedroom apartment in Washington, D.C., it feels very spacious and very luxurious, and especially for people that don't have children, it's just the two of us and our tiny little cats and dog, this feels very generous. I think, most of our friends and the people that sort of live around us tend to have children, so they might have, these two guest rooms might actually be dedicated to living spaces for children, and they might be down to, just maybe the third room as a guest room or as a home office. So hopefully that answers the question.
So maybe that gets into one of the other questions. One person was asking, why rent this room?
Oh, well, so it's interesting. For the Masters tournament, which happens in April every year, it's kind of an Augusta-wide thing that people from all over the country, actually people from all over the world, come to attend the Masters tournament. It's not my thing, I'm not a golfer, and I'd rather take a vacation, but for a lot of people, this is golf mecca, and it's very special to come and attend. So they're actually not just renting out a room, they're renting out the whole house. And so traditionally, this year will be the fourth time that we've rented out the house since we've lived here for Masters, and it's usually one couple or maybe two couples, and they'll come and split the whole house for a week. So it's even more important when you have multiple families coming to stay that every room is fully equipped, because you want everybody to have their privacy, you want everybody to have enough hangers in their closet and enough towels, and everybody's got a bathroom to use, because oftentimes it's not just one family that's sharing everything, they kind of want their own space. So probably if we had wanted to, we could rent out one or both of our guest rooms to a medical student or somebody that was staying here. We haven't done that. I think I mentioned in my last clip, we have a lot of visitors, which we feel very lucky to have our family and friends visit a lot, and so we like to have the guest spaces ready for them at any time, so we haven't rented out just a specific room. But people love coming here for the Masters week, mainly because our house is really close to the course, so you can actually walk there because driving and parking is near impossible during that week in Augusta, so I hear. And I think the house has a lot of charm. It's comfortable. It's not a contemporary, updated 5,000 square foot house with an updated kitchen and a television in every room and a pool table and a swimming pool. It's not that kind of a thing. But for people that want to have a really comfortable, cozy, well-equipped, well-located home, I think that's why they choose our home. And we've always had people say how much they enjoyed staying here.
Okay, and just for one last question, at GeoLucy had a question, maybe a little bit about design. She was wondering, what is the color on the walls? She loves it.
Oh, thank you. This color is called, oh, I have it, you know what, I can look up it's a great beige, because I find when you're looking for beige, sometimes it has tints that you don't like. It'll often have a kind of fleshy pink undertone, and actually 2 of the rooms downstairs were painted in that kind of beige when we moved in, and I hated it. There was this, even though it was beige on the walls, there was this feeling of pink everywhere. So I actually changed the color and matched it to everything. So actually, if you'll come back with me to the office for a moment, I can tell you exactly what color is on this wall.
There was one question, someone was asking to see the kitchen. So for those of you who are interested, the kitchen was done on a separate video last week. You can find the videos on libraorganizing.com, and that will also link you, and you can find the YouTube channel for Libra Organizing.
Yeah, I would recommend just going to Facebook. If you look up Libra Organizing on Facebook, the most recent posts are my Periscope broadcast. So today we're looking at the upstairs of the house, but last week we looked at the downstairs of the house, so you got more of a view of the common spaces in the home, and here we're looking more at the private spaces where my husband and I live. So this was in my manuals and warranties box, and it's because it's kind of home information, and I have clips of all of the paint colors in our home. And the beige that someone was asking about is called Relaxed Khaki. It's a Sherwin-Williams paint, and it's SW6149, and it's a great paint. If it has any undertone, it's slightly green. And that's okay with me in this space, because especially downstairs, green is a prominent color, so it kind of goes with the whole feel. What it doesn't have is any of that fleshy, pinky, skin tone undertone that I tend to not be able to stand. I'm going to take us, let's leave this here, and I'm going to take you to the final guest space in the upstairs of our house, and then I'll take a quick break and take you into our most personal space, which would be our bedroom, and in particular our closets. But first, let me show you the guest bath. Now, the 2 guest rooms up here share this bathroom, so it's very important that it's, of course, clean and spacious. There are a couple of critical things that you always want to make sure that your guests have. One is towels, so I always have hand towels here, and when my guests are here, I put out plenty of towels in their bedrooms. I explained before that I've got a hook up here. Again, the more towel bars and hooks you have, the less chance that there's going to be wet towels lying around the floor or on your furniture. So I've got a hook right here. And then there's really just some very basic stuff. You always want to make sure there's hand soap. I think sometimes I go to people's houses and they either don't have any soap out, or they're very low, or it's empty, and that's just upsetting. We all want to know that everybody's washing their hands regularly. And this bathroom has this great closet, which is really, you know, kind of a linen closet, but I leave it empty because when our guests come, certainly when my parents come, I know that this, since there's not a lot of surface area in the bathroom, and we live in an old house from the turn of last century, so we don't have a big double sink with cabinetry and all of that. We've got a pedestal sink. So the mirror having a little ledge here where you can put a toothbrush. We've got the little soap dish kind of things. And then this is really a place where people can spread out. I know my mom can come and she can spread out her makeup and all of her medication, and my dad can put his shaving things. The only things that we put in this closet are, of course, plenty of extra toilet paper. I also have an extra thing of Q-tips in here. That's something that I like to have when I'm traveling, so I try to think of what my guests might need. And because there is a bathtub in here, I do have some candles out. So I have a box of matches in case people want to take a bath, and I've got some bath gel. But that's really about it. The couple of other things that I want to show you in here are the back of this door. Since we don't have a lot of wall space in here, we hung 3 separate towel bars on the back of the door. So there can be a bath mat and 2 large towels. So again, there are plenty of spaces to be able to hang up not only towels, but if somebody just needs to rinse out a shirt in the sink or something like that, there's plenty of space to spread out and hang up wet things. And the last thing, of course, is the shower. Now keep in mind, this blue tile was very popular at one time. It's in great shape. It's not necessarily everybody's taste. It wouldn't have probably been my choice. But I do have in here just the basics for shower. So that if people don't want to travel with their own shampoo and conditioner and body wash and lotion, those are always the things that come in the biggest bottles, they've got them right here. So I try to keep the bathroom stocked, but still spacious, again, so that people can spread out. I know I hate it when Daniel and I, when we travel, mostly stay in Airbnb places, just because it's cheaper if you're traveling with multiple people, and it's kind of more fun. You get more of a personal experience. But I hate it when we go in and every surface is covered with something decorative, because I come and I don't have any place to put my own things. So I try to minimize that and just, put enough out that it feels welcoming and cozy, but still make it functional and practical for our guests. Are there any questions, or should I move on? I was going to take a quick break and then come back in a moment to show you the most private and one of the most important spaces in our house, which is our master bedroom and bathroom and our closets.
Well, at KJ4 was just asking about Airbnb and whether or not this house has been used or listed for Airbnb.
We have listed it on Airbnb for the Masters Week rental every year, and for the most part, our rentals have come through Airbnb. But no, in the time that we've lived here, we like to keep the guest spaces open for personal guests.